Greetings, demons, and welcome to a type of video that I wasn't expecting to make. This is going to be part of a mini-series of sorts relating to the free game modes that Fortnite is closing down in April of 2026. And, of course, we're starting with Rocket Racing, which will be closing technically last, but also is losing all of its content first, if that makes sense. So we're not actually getting a full shutdown of Rocket Racing until October. However, all these quests that are currently here for all this XP and the ranked rewards and stuff like that will be gone by, well, by the time you're watching this video. I will try and line this up with when those are actually going to be disappearing. But what is fascinating to me, and sorry that this preamble, this intro is going to be a little bit long because of this, the interesting thing is that we do have more weeks of quests that were scheduled out, you know, all the way up to 41 days from the time of recording this, and they're going to be gone. We're not going to see week 3, essentially, which is really interesting, and to me just proves that this was not really planned for, the closure of Rocket Racing and the other two being Ballistic and Festival Jam Stage. But this video is about Rocket Racing, so this is going to be my last time playing Rocket Racing, and let's just jump into it.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can get the boost. 40%, that's not great. Yeah, long-time viewers of the channel are probably going to know that I really enjoyed Rocket Racing for a good while. I'm a huge Rocket League fan, and the fact that there was a racing mode introduced into Fortnite with the same basic mechanics was really fun to me. And seeing it go is actually really disappointing. I messed that up. For many reasons, mostly just because I think this was a good reason to have the vehicle customization exist. Right now, Rocket Racing and Creative are the only modes that you can use this vehicle I'm currently driving, the Battle Bus SUV. And the fact that once that Rocket League is no longer... Rocket Racing, sorry, is no longer an actual mode once it is shut down in October, we're not going to have any use unless they get brought back to regular Battle Royale for SUVs, despite the fact that right now I think there's 2 SUVs being sold in the shop. And yeah, that in itself is kind of insulting to Rocket League players, it's kind of insulting to Fortnite players in general, and yeah, despite the fact that I'm playing poorly, I'm way too far ahead of the other players here. But yeah, I think overall it's really stupid that this is such a major part. Like, they bought Rocket League pretty much to do this, and the fact that we are losing out on the actual mode, especially when there is so much money put into the cosmetics from many people, including myself. Plenty of these cosmetics I, bought by playing Rocket League or, whatever else. But there are some cosmetics, some vehicle cosmetics, that I have either earned or bought specifically for use in Fortnite, and losing out on them in at least some part is really disappointing. Especially because, as I say, right now Battle Royale, the main mode, doesn't even have access to all of these cosmetics. Like, I can, if I really want to, drive around, as long as I find one, in a Batmobile or whatever, a regular car body. But if I want to drive an SUV, it's Rocket Racing or a creative map that happens to have the SUV in the actual map, because otherwise they're not actually available right now. And yeah, I think that's the thing that bugs me the most, and it's the reason that I kind of wanted to make this video, just for posterity, because, I'm not that great at Rocket Racing, but I've always enjoyed it. I've played ranked for the ranked rewards and stuff like that. It was my main way of getting ranked rewards back when the ranked rewards were shared, in the previous chapter, literally, what, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was. And, yeah, since all the changes to basically make it so there was no point in playing any ranked mode, unless you specifically wanted the ranked rewards for it. So, I don't really care about the wheels or the boost or anything from this mode. There was no point in me playing it anymore, which already spelled, disaster for the future of this mode, alongside the fact that there has really been next to no support for this pretty much at all since launch. And we've finished this match, but we'll get into another race, and I'll just go over something that I find especially weird with the timing of the cancellation, beyond the fact that Quest was supposedly going to be lasting for at least like a month and a half longer. And that is that we already actually knew there was a Star Wars pod racing map in development, which presumably was going to be releasing 76, not bad. Was presumably going to be releasing for the Star Wars Celebration, May the 4th, and all the related stuff that we, typically do see every year. And yeah, that is presumably now just gone. That is just not happening. And I don't know whether that was intended to be specifically for Rocket Racing in terms of it was definitely a Rocket Racing styled track. We just don't know if that was going to be its own dedicated mode. It may even still happen, though, with the other recent news about the layoffs. I've got a feeling that entire development has just been cancelled, like, fully. But the fact that we did have collaborations and actual active development going on for Rocket Racing, literally in the last few weeks and months, really shows how this has kind of come out of nowhere for pretty much everyone involved. Not only have, a large portion of the team responsible for Rocket Racing been fired, but it seems that up until the last minute, they still thought they were working on this game, for the future, which I think is going to be a case when we talk about the other games as well, when I cover Ballistic and cover Battle Stage, that I don't think Epic expected to be closing these games. I don't think they really knew what they were doing, and I think that's really worrying for the future of all these other modes, especially when right now we have box fight arenas on the horizon, which I think as of this going up will probably be coming out either like in the next few days or will already be out, because that's early April that's going to be releasing. And I wonder, how long is that going to last? I'm surprised at this point that Blitz has managed to stay around, and obviously that was due to fans just really liking it, players really liking it. But how long, really, are all these other modes going to last when seemingly these active development modes are just getting cancelled left and right? And it's really disappointing in a lot of ways. I think what else is kind of disappointing is that I am absolutely leading the pack here, and it's not... I will say, normally I'm enjoying this a lot more. I think it's because I know this is the end. But like, the fact that I'm this far ahead and like not even like feeling it, like I'm not even really seeing anyone other than that person that jumped over that bit of track there. Like, I think it's kind of annoying. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It really feels like development was still ongoing for this and various other modes. And I'll get more into that with the Ballistic one, especially the Ballistic video. But yeah, I just can't get over that this mode, because it is really fun, was basically released unfinished, given barely any support, had support essentially cancelled, all things considered, still maintained a decently large player base, considering, what it is. And despite all that, despite all the money that Epic are making from, vehicle cosmetics that can only be used in this mode for the most part, it's really, really frustrating that we're then seeing this mode just disappear. And that goes in as well for all the creative stuff, which I'm not really going to get into because I don't really understand it. But all of the Epic-made, like, assets for creative racing tracks and stuff are just disappearing. And that in itself is really, really frustrating. And I suppose we'll do one more match just to finish out my thoughts, I suppose. I think what my biggest fear and what my biggest problem with stuff like this happening is that it reflects so poorly on the idea that anything can last. And don't get me wrong, we've seen plenty of content disappear over the years. Battle Labs went, Team Rumble no longer technically exists, so there are variations that come in every once in a while. And, even like Imposters, which I was not necessarily sad to see Imposters go because I didn't really enjoy it. I would rather play actual Among Us, but I understand that many people had Imposters be their main reason to log on. And I could see the same being true for many people that play Rocket Racing and so many people that play Ballistic. I already know of a few people who their entire experience with Fortnite was just playing Ballistic because they heard that there was a new cartoony version of essentially CSGO or Call of Duty S&D, and they jumped on it. And that is how they've been enjoying this game, for months, for over a year, for nearly 2 years. And the fact that never really released, and we'll get more into that in that video, but yeah, it's just incredible that they're killing off modes like this, and it makes me really wonder what the future of, Fortnite in general really looks like, because all of this stuff, they bought Psyonix, they bought the entirety of Rocket League, mostly just to implement this mode. So the fact that they're killing it at this point, what does that mean for everything else that they've bought? What does that mean for Fall Guys, which has notoriously not made them any money? What does it mean for all these other game modes and companies that they've bought and games that they've bought? Are they just going to kill them off because they're not, making $1 billion an hour or whatever stupid amount of money that they need them to make? And yeah, it is just really sad to think of what could happen to all these really great game modes and even the standalone games themselves. Obviously, right now, as far as we're aware, nothing is going to happen to actual Rocket League. And, God forbid anything actually happened to it. I love Rocket League. I've always loved Rocket League. And, yeah, I would be so heartbroken if that game just disappeared. The same with Fall Guys in a lot of ways. But, yeah, it just makes you think when the Fall Guys mode got killed off after, like, a few weeks. Rocket Racing is disappearing after just over 2 years. And what does that mean for the rest of the metaverse idea? How long, without any contracts or anything, how long is Lego Fortnite going to last? Because it's not as popular as it used to be. How long is this new arena mode going to last? How long is anything really going to last other than Battle Royale, I suppose? Because Battle Royale just happens to remain popular enough. Though saying that, they had to let go 1,000 employees and also raise the price of V-Bucks. So maybe Fortnite in general, no matter where you are looking, is just not that popular anymore. And I think that is really where my fears lie, is that I just don't want to see any of this content, any of these games, any of these modes actually die for good. But with that bit of this entire video was kind of a downer, but with all that being said, there we go, I'm going to get to Silver 2, and we're going to call it there. So, yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe and enter, and red bell so you never miss upload. Obviously, comment your thoughts and feelings on Rocket Racing. Did you enjoy it? Did you get a lot of fun out of it? Are you going to miss it? And, yeah, otherwise, it's going to be it from me. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but worlds divide. I just wanna take